Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Exterior. And today we'll be talking about episode 3 of the Astra Lost in Space anime series. Now, admittedly, I do apologise that this review is a little bit on the late side. However, that doesn't change the fact that this episode was absolutely fantastic. We had some good amount of character moments from this episode, from the whole crew, and some shocking revelations that kind of put the whole story in perspective. Although we get this revelation, we don't actually find out an awful lot in terms of factual evidence. But there's a lot to speculate. So with that, let's go right into the episode, shall we? So we start off with a small recap of the cast, and basically going through telling us what their traits are. And we see Kanata kind of trying to figure out who the traitor is. Because remember, last week's episode ended on the cliffhanger with Zack and Kanata finding out that basically someone among them on the Astra is, has to be a traitor because the communications were tampered with. So Kanata's basically going around trying to find all these possible ideas and trying to put together who he thinks a traitor is. However, he finds ideas and clues to find out who the traitor is, but also finds out clues and ideas to say who they can't be. So, he's no better off than when he started. Okay, fine. But what actually comes after this is very interesting. We find out from Funi that while she was at the orphanage, and on the same night as what she was adopted, basically the same night, she heard a man in sunglasses stating, "Put her in B5 and will illuminate them all." Illuminate? Funi's only 10, so when I first heard this, I kind of thought that, hold on a minute, do you think she got the word illuminate wrong and kind of meant eliminate? Because it's very similar. And then straight afterwards, Kanata basically makes the kind of connection and thinks, B5, B5. Oh wait, we're B5. And if we put them all together, we'll eliminate them all. So the dots kind of connect. However, since we know this, the whole crew now basically knows that there must be a traitor on board. Everyone is freaking out. Some great voice acting in this scene, especially by Courtaline's character, VA. Because she's the most kind of scared and overdramatic character in this scene. She doesn't like the idea of being on the same ship as someone who's trying to kill them. And you know what? Being lost in space, I can kind of understand that. Yeah, there's a lot of to and froing. However, the more surprising thing to come out of this part was actually the fact that Ares and her ability to analyze the situation and to speculate upon a kind of ordeal. We've only seen Ares to be this carefree and clumsy character. So to see her kind of going, hold on a minute, so we got this fact, and this fact, and this fact. So, what is it? So basically, if we take the fact that Ares was transferred in June, and Funi was transferred in June, adopted in June, they're all put on the same sort of exploration, being 5B. So, individually, they might have someone out there who wants to try and get rid of them. Somebody who wants them eliminated. However, we don't know what the reason is that someone would want all of them eliminated. Now again, I do have to stress, if you've read the manga, then you know exactly what the reason is and who they are. But for the purpose of, keeping it so that people who only watch the anime don't get spoiled, I'm not going to spoil anything of this plotline. But it's a very interesting point to make. Simply because, it gets us thinking, who out of these characters could be the traitor? Because Ares also states in this scene that whoever it is, they might have used the weird light orb thing that swallowed them up and sent them into space. However, if that's the case, this is a suicide mission. for the person that is controlling and trying to eliminate everybody else. Because they got absorbed by the orb. And if they didn't get absorbed by the orb, it would be very suspicious. But since they did, they wouldn't be able to kind of predict there would be the ship, this case being the Astra. And, they should obviously have some prior knowledge that the Astra isn't suitable for long distance space travel. So it makes very, very little sense for someone to purposely get swallowed up by this orb and bank on a ship being available for them to make their escape back to their home planet, while everybody else is adrift in space. So we don't actually get any more conclusion or any further with that kind of idea, because then some more exciting things happen. That's right, some great character moments in a situation that puts the crew in grave parallel. So basically, we've got a scene in where meteors, I don't know, have started to puncture the Astra itself. And the crew have to act fast, as gravity is failing and they're being dragged within the second planet's orbit. So Zack shows off his skills in predicting the amount of time they have before the impact on the surface of their second planet that they're now gravitating towards. Ulga basically is the MVP of this episode, as he shows off his marksman skills with the glue gun, stopping a flying bird creature in midair in order to allow the gravity system to kind of come back on. The rest of the crew play their roles, apart from Yunahara. I think that's her name. She seems to be fighting her inner struggles. We see a scene of her mum basically stating that she should stay out of the way because she's not helping anybody. This leads me to want, in fact, some more character development for this character, as we know she's quite shy and quite timid, and seeing this kind of shows us a little bit of insight into her character and where that kind of shyness and quietness stems from. So I'd love to see that, developed more, and hopefully on the next planet we might see that. Now, is another thing to note, another character that showed great sort of traits in this episode was Ares herself. I've already stated that it was kind of nice seeing her be this smart, analytic person to try and assess the situation, to speculate, but she's also the one to kind of remember, because of a photographic memory, that basically there is a backup generator on the ship. And this is obviously lead to the way and the part of them kind of connecting that to the main kind of gravity system and basically putting everything back online. Without Ares' kind of memory, the Astra would have crash landed with everybody in it, possibly killing them. Hey, the villain of this series would be very happy with that. But who is that villain? I mean, they would have died as well, remember? So this episode ends, and it really, really is trying to make you believe that Uluga is the main villain. So basically, they're trying to say that he's the traitor. As we know from this episode, that his father is the vice principal of the school. And when we hear Ares basically speculating and kind of theorizing, everyone kind of reckons and comes to the conclusion that somebody higher up in the school's hierarchy must have kind of planted and instrumented the, having everyone together at the same time. They must have orchestrated. That's the word I was looking for. So, learning that Uruga's father is the vice principal of the school kind of does help tie him into kind of being that suspect as such. And we also find out the fact that by the end of this episode, the briefcase in which he didn't want Cartiner to find out what was inside at the beginning of this episode is in fact a gun. And it's heavily stated by Luca that if Uruga had a gun, he would be very dangerous. So, villains are often quite dangerous, quite smart, quite calculative, and we've seen all that from Uruga's character. And he comes off as quite cold, because he's always telling people who gives him compliments to shut up. So yeah, That's what it's really trying to hammer home to you in this episode. But, you know what, I'm not buying it. It's the third episode of the series. Like, come on. They do this all the time in anime, where they kind of go, hey, this is the villain. Believe me. I know. I write the show. I animate it. Believe that he's the villain. And then they kind of go, nope, it's this guy. But yeah, let me know who you think is the villain after watching this episode. Basically, it's all out there. Anyone in the crew aboard the Astra could be a villain, and the traitor, you know, even Cartner or Ares could be. So overall, this episode has some really good sound effects and voice acting. The voice acting was on par with pretty much everything. Really nice, especially the panicking and the kind of emotional standpoint. You got that sent across in this episode really well. Sound effects of the ship kind of hurling and velocitating towards the Earth's gravity, and you hear like the kind of sort of noises. Brilliant. Animation wise, absolutely stunning. Same as always with this show. It's been brilliantly animated throughout so far, and after the third episode I'm very excited to see what happens next, and I'm going to be continuing on with this series, because normally I give series 3 episodes to see how good they are before I give up on them, and this one definitely isn't one to give up on. So if you haven't gone to see it yet, well, bad phrasing, make sure you go and watch it, because it helps tie in a few things but leaves us with a lot to speculate on. So, with that out of the way, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. If you have, smash that like button. Hey, if you like Astra Lost in Space and other animes like that, then subscribe so you never miss a video from me. But until next time, I hope you'll have an amazing day, and thank you for just watching the video as they are. I appreciate it all the same. So, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now. Enjoy.